I start that job on Monday. I go to orientation on Monday, and I start it for real on the 5th. But to do that job, I got to have tools, and I got to have a shitload of tools. When I've had this job before for 20 years, my tools grew to about 200 pounds worth of tools. I had 1, 2, 3 toolboxes, and I had a box that I built that had about, I want to say 30 boxes of screws in it. So if you know what a box of screws weighs, a box of screws can weigh about 3 pounds. 3 to 5 pounds, something like that. So that tells you how heavy that box was. And to move these tools around, I also had a bag that had, it was a gym bag that had my PPE in it, which is my hard hat, my vest, my gloves, my glasses, and in some certain situations, I didn't have it. When it all really blew up, when PPE really blew up, they also wanted you to wear these carbon fiber thread, no-cut armlets on your arms. That went away pretty fast, thank God. But so all my PPE was in that bag. So I had it's a furniture dolly, 3 toolboxes, which each toolbox weighed about probably between 20 and 30 pounds each. One of them weighed about 40 pounds. Heavy as shit. Then I had the box of screws, which weighed at least 50 pounds. And then I had the bag of PPE on top of that. And then I had a laser level in a case, a DeWalt laser level in a case. And then I had what's called a wall standard, which is a metal bar, which was, I want to say 4 foot tall. And what I did with that metal bar was, well, I also had, now get this, I also had 2 handles that slid on the sides of the dolly. And what it does, it makes that dolly, that furniture dolly, into a very cool cart that you can move anything within reason. Now, if you move something that's heavy, like a work surface, or especially something like a marble top, you don't really ever want to use one of these to move a very heavy marble top. You want to use a red cart, which is like 30 inches wide or 32 inches wide by like 3 feet deep and has handles on it. You want to use something like that to use a marble top. And usually they have 3 bars in it, and you want to put the bar in the middle, and you put the marble top on the outside. You lean it towards the center, and what that does is that takes the heavy weight and balances it on that handle, but it also balances on the whole cart, so you don't get this tipping hazard that you would have if you put the marble top, say, on the far right bar and leaned it over to the far left bar. That's usually pretty stable, but if, for example, if you laid it in the middle of the cart and laid it over on the outside handle, it would tip over right away. Anyway, long story short, I had this furniture dolly, I had these 2 handles, I had the 3 plastic toolboxes that weighed between 20 and 40 pounds each. I had the box of like 30 screws that weighed about 50, 60 pounds. I had a bag of PPE that I carried with me. I had my laser level that was in a case, my DeWalt laser level. I had this 4 foot long wall standard that I put down on the side, because what I did was, I used to do a lot of wall mounting. And one of the problems with wall mounting is trying to depend on walls to have metal studs in them, so you can just put the laser level up and it puts a line on the wall. And you'll get that probably in about 40% of the offices that you go into now. And the problem becomes, well, where the hell are you going to put that laser level at the height you need it at to put that line down to put your cleat up to mount your overhead on? So what I did was I took this wall standard, I drilled 2 holes in that handle that were identical to 2 holes in the wall standard, and I put 2 screws in that. And the wall standard being 4 foot tall, the handles were already like 30 inches tall. So I could put that wall standard up, and it would be about 6.5 foot tall when at the top height, when I got it screwed to the handle. The only thing I had to be careful about with the handle was that I had to take my toolboxes and I had to brace the handle so it wouldn't bounce like this. Because if people walk across a floor and the floor shakes, then suddenly you get this, and then your laser line, it looks like you're having an earthquake. But that gave me a place to put my laser level on, so I could put my line on the wall, and I could put my cleats up. Now the thing to understand is when you're doing furniture like this, there's very often a specialist who does wall mounts, and I'm the specialist. And you would have a floor filled with 100 offices, and you would have people building the desk and placing the cabinet, and you would have one guy going around. Usually you would have a crew of like 4 guys going around putting the cleat up, okay? Ideally what you want is you want every installer to be able to install wall mounts safely. And I emphasize that safe part, because when you're doing wall mounts, you need to understand it's not simple. It's not quick. It's not safe. It's not anything, but you need to do it damn right. Okay? Because you're hanging something up that can fall off and kill somebody. Okay? It's not a time to be, oh, I got to burn through these. No, you don't burn through them. You can burn through them if you get good at it. I got good at it. I know I have a co-worker named Wolf. His real name is Earl. But that guy got so good at doing wall mounts, I was in shock at how fast he could do them, because I could never match his speed. And he was good. He was very good at that. Now I want to put one. I will put one qualification about that when we do wall mounts. And I want to thank every GC on every job who's ever done this on any job I've ever been on doing wall mounts. If they put 3/4 inch plywood against the wall that you're going to put the overhead on. Now most companies, the project managers screw this up sometimes, and this is very frustrating for the GC and very frustrating for the installer. The project managers miss the range of where the cleating, it's called blocking, but all it is a piece of 3/4 inch plywood that's screwed behind the drywall before they put the drywall up on the studs, and it's a piece of plywood goes across the whole thing, and it's like there's a range. Like if the top of the cabinet is say 6 foot tall, the range for the cleat, because we don't know what the cleat might be. It might be a piece of metal that goes at the very top of the overhead. So that means at 6 feet, that's where your cleat's going to go. Well, obviously if you put the blocking in that starts at 6 feet, that's a problem, because now you're only screwing into the very top of that 3/4 inch piece of plywood, and screws have a tendency to like to strip out at the top of plywood. So what you would say as a project manager is you would say, okay, well the range on our furniture is say 6 feet 6 inches to like 3 feet 6 inches. You're trying to get a range where the contractor doesn't have to use an excessive amount of 3/4 inch plywood. I did have one GC who got so angry at our project managers for the company I was working for. He said I asked them about what the blocking range was, and nobody could give me an answer. So I blocked that whole blanking wall. He put like a 6 foot tall, he took an 8 foot tall piece of plywood. He said, I blocked that whole sumbitchin' wall. And I said, yeah, dude, you're like my hero. You were my hero, because blocking, what blocking does is it means you can take a number 10 screw. Number 10 is the size of screw. A number 10 screw by usually 2 3/4, but in some cases, depending on if it's double drywall or not, 3 inches. But usually 2 3/4 number 10 flathead screw, depending on whether the cleat has a countersink in it or not. If it has a conical, it's conical countersink that makes the screw flat, then you use a flathead screw on it. If it has a recessed hole in it that is flat on the bottom, then you have to use a round head screw. So this is where I wind up with 30 damn boxes of screws in my toolkit. But that's why with blocking on a wall you can go so fast on overheads. But you still have to do the right job. You still there is only about a 1/4 inch of range that you can be off in relationship to the other furniture if it ties into it. There's not much you can be off, and you can never be low. Because if you're low and the furniture that stands next to it goes up and the wall of the floor raises up, and you've got all the levelers in of, say, your wardrobe cabinet, and they push that up there, and suddenly your wardrobe cabinet is 3/4 of an inch low, you're screwed. You're absolutely screwed. You've got 100 offices that you've got to go back and move all of the cleats up. Not 3/4 of an inch. You got to move them up probably an inch. If you're down 3/4 of an inch, you got to move them up an inch, because to move that cleat up, you've got to have that cleat in new holes that have enough wood around them so they don't come out. And you can't put 2 holes right above each other. You've got to have a space, you know. So that was the nightmare of wall mounts. But getting back, you know, I don't know how I got to this, but getting back to fasting and getting back to this wonderful old man. We don't ever want to be where he's at today. He is at the end of his life. He's looking at the end of his life, because the doctors have got him on medicine that's so powerful, and they've had him on that medicine for so long that if he comes off of it, he stands a good chance of dying. He doesn't have the option of fasting. He can't go on a fast and keep taking his blood thinner medicine and his statin drugs, because as he comes into his fasting zone and he stops ingesting medicines, those medicines will become far more powerful. Far more powerful. They will work way better, and he will have to take far less of the medicines to get the same effect. And that's something that the drug companies really don't want you to do. They want to give you large doses of medicine. They want to sell you the large numbers of pills, because that's how they make their money. So that's why I didn't talk to him about fasting. The Pepsi thing, honest to God, this man has so many health problems. Unless he actually listen, it would be an insult for me to tell this man anything. And the lady that was bent over in a 90-degree position. It would be an insult for me to presume I could tell him anything about his health, unless I was willing to actually get involved in his life and help him get through those challenges by spending my time with the man, with his family, and I didn't touch on the subject. I just was happy to have the company of the man next to me playing the slot machine, and we had a great time. Oh man, the battery pack's about to die. I'm so sorry, Pumpkin. But I'm pretty much done. The battery just flashed a message, said check the battery pack. So this video is about to end, and it's been a pleasure talking to you, but look, we don't ever want to be where that man is now. We don't ever want to be that sick. So if this video ends suddenly, I apologize. Please find fasting. Please don't drink Diet Coke or Diet Pepsi. Sodas in general are all poison. They're poison. They're chemicals made. I'm going to do a video taking Diet Pepsi and using it as Roundup on some grass on my sidewalk, and Diet Coke as Roundup to kill grass that Roundup hasn't killed. So I'm going to pour liters of Diet Pepsi on the grass and see what happens, and I'm going to pour liters of Diet Coke on the grass and see what happens. I'm going to make a video about that. That should be interesting. Please don't ever let yourself get into these situations where you're so unhealthy that you have to take statin drugs and blood thinner medicines. I myself are facing some health problems that I will probably get addressed as soon as I start this job. I don't anticipate them being gravely dangerous. I hope not. I mean, you never know what life holds for you. But I do know one thing: no matter what the doctors tell me, I'm not going to take medicines that as soon as they tell me, well, you've got to take this and you've got to take this for the rest of your life. And I'm going to look at him and I'm going to say, no, I don't, and no, I will not. Because we're going to use every possible rational, natural way of addressing health ailments to treat my health ailments, whatever they may be. I'll do fasting. I'll eat healthy natural fats and foods. I'll stay away from any potato chips or candy bars or donuts or sweets. I'll have a few every now and then. I just won't make it a practice of eating a pie of cheesecake. And I just, honestly, alcohol is a no-go for me. God has pretty much revealed to me that alcohol is a no-go. So when God tells you something, you listen, right? But sorry the video went so long. This is an hour and a half. Woo! I know this is split in half about 5 times, and unfortunately I'm going to have to post this in those split up sections because I tried with my video editor to make a one long video, and the computer just took a crap. The computer said no, you can't do that. So please don't let yourself get into health situations that this old man was in. Please maintain your health. Do fasting. Eat natural foods. Stay away from all the chemicals. And be well. And God bless you. I think I'll end the video there, but I'm going to sit here until the camera dies. And I'll turn this off now. It'll go to black. But my little knucklehead is in my lap, and I like to let her relax as long as I can stand it with my leg. So I'm going to let her relax, and we're just going to wait for the camera to go out. Please be well. Do fasting. Don't drink any sodas, period. And be well, okay? And have sympathy and heart for every old person you meet. They've been where you are now. And they're teaching us things every day about how strong and courageous they are facing all of the health ailments that they face. And God bless them, and I love every one of you out there, okay? I wish you all the best. God bless you.